Okay, so are you ready to like totally up your B2B marketing game for 2024?
Always up for that.
Because we are diving deep into Inkbot Design's top 10 B2B marketing strategies. They've got some seriously interesting points, and like they just get it.
What I found really interesting about this guide is how they totally debunk that myth that B2B buyers are these robots,
Right.
They're all about that human connection, even in the business world. They actually say that emotional intelligence is just as important as data when it comes to winning clients.
Yeah, so even CEOs want to feel something, right?
Absolutely. And that's where their first strategy comes in. Content is king, but make it reign supreme. But it's not just about churning out content for the sake of it. They're talking about creating content that really speaks to what your ideal client is worried about, what they're hoping for.
So it's about figuring out what's keeping them up at night and then coming in as the solution.
Exactly. Inkbot uses a great example of a cybersecurity company. Instead of just listing a bunch of features, they made a series of videos that tapped into that fear of data breaches. Everyone's worried about getting hacked these days. And they presented it like a race against these super sophisticated hackers. It was like watching a movie trailer or something.
Okay, so it's about telling stories that make people feel something.
Exactly. And people connect with stories. And that takes us to Inkbot's second strategy, which is account-based marketing, or ABM. Remember that whole sniper rifle versus shotgun analogy we talked about before?
Yeah, ditch the shotgun approach.
Right. So with ABM, imagine you've got your top 10 dream clients, the ones that would be absolute game changers for your business. ABM is about putting all your effort into winning over those specific accounts. It's like creating a personalized campaign just for them,
Yeah.
speaking directly to their needs.
Okay, I'm liking this already. It's like you're hand delivering a message instead of just shouting into the void.
And it gets results. The guide mentions a software company that used ABM, and their deal sizes went up by 40%.
40%? Okay, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a great example of how powerful a focused approach can be.
Makes you wonder how much we miss out on when we try to be everything to everyone.
Right. And that kind of leads us to their third strategy, which is social media marketing, building relationships in the digital age. And I know some B2B companies are like, is social media really for us?
LinkedIn is our limit.
Exactly. But Inkbot makes a really good point. Social media is where your potential clients are hanging out. They're networking, reading industry news, and yeah, even checking out potential partners.
So you can't just like post a company update and call it a day.
No way. They're big on using LinkedIn strategically. But they also talk about Twitter, which is, X now, and how you can use it for those real-time industry insights.
Oh, I see. Like if your CEO is at a big conference, they could tweet out key takeaways and stuff.
Yeah. It makes them seem more relatable.
Yeah.
And then there's Instagram. They say it's great for showcasing your company culture, putting a human face on your brand.
So it's about showing the people behind the scenes.
Exactly. And that's what people connect with. And it's not just about posting a bunch of selfies, right? It's about actually engaging with people, answering their questions, being part of the conversation.
So it's about building actual relationships online.
Exactly. And that's how you build trust, which is huge in B2B.
For sure. And speaking of building trust, let's talk about email marketing. Inkbot calls it the workhorse of B2B communication, which I thought was interesting because I feel like everyone's trying to move away from email these days.
Right, like it's this old school thing. But Inkbot argues that it's still super effective, especially for B2B, because it lets you have these direct one-on-one conversations with potential clients. You can really nurture those relationships over time.
Okay, I can see that. But what about everyone's overflowing inboxes? How do you stand out?
That's where Inkbot gets really specific. They talk about how important it is to segment your email list. So you're not just sending the same generic message to everyone. You divide your list based on their industry, their job title, what they've clicked on before, that kind of thing. And then you personalize the heck out of those emails.
So it's about sending the right message to the right person at the right time.
Exactly. No more spammy blasts.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually have some really good tips for writing subject lines that people can't resist clicking on.
Because the subject line is make or break.
Right.
If it's not interesting, people are just going to hit delete.
Totally. And then on the flip side, even if you get them to open the email, you have to make sure it looks good on their phones too, because everyone's on their phones these days.
Oh, yeah. No one wants to be pinching and zooming to read a tiny email.
Exactly. So design matters a lot.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about something that I know can be a little mysterious. SEO, or search engine optimization.
Yeah, SEO can feel like this big, scary thing. Like, how do you even begin to understand it?
Right. But Inkbot actually breaks it down really well. They emphasize that B2B SEO is kind of its own animal. It's not the same as like trying to rank for some random keyword on Google. You have to think about the specific phrases that your ideal clients are typing in when they're looking for solutions that you offer.
So instead of just going for these broad keywords, it's about finding those niche phrases that are like laser focused on your target audience.
Exactly. And once you've got those keywords, you have to sprinkle them throughout your website content. That's what's called on-page SEO. It's like those headlines and subheadings, even those image descriptions that no one thinks about but are so important.
Okay, so it's not about tricking Google. It's about making your content actually useful for the people who are searching for those things.
Exactly. Now, what about off-page SEO? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, that's the one that always trips me up.
Right.
What's the deal with off-page SEO?
So off-page SEO is all about building your website's authority, like becoming the go-to source for your industry. Imagine it's like you've got this network of colleagues and they're all vouching for you, telling everyone how great you are.
Okay, I like that analogy. So how do you get people to vouch for your website?
You want to earn backlinks from other awesome websites, guest post on big industry blogs, and basically just be really active and involved in your online community.
So it's about building a reputation outside of your own little corner of the internet.
Precisely. You've got to show the world you're the real deal. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about those times when you need to make a splash quickly. That's where pay-per-click advertising, or PPC, comes in.
PPC, that's like instant visibility, right?
You got it. Inkbot points out how effective PPC can be in B2B, especially when you're targeting very specific keywords or you've got a campaign that's time sensitive. Like let's say you're launching a game-changing software next month. PPC can help you get in front of the right people, like right now.
It's like that perfectly timed ad that pops up just when you need it. But isn't PPC easy to mess up? Like you can spend a ton of money and get zero results.
You're absolutely right. That's why Inkbot gives some great advice on creating those winning PPC campaigns. It all comes down to choosing the right keywords. You want to focus on those high-intent keywords that practically scream, "I'm ready to buy." Think about someone who's just casually browsing online versus someone who is actively searching for a solution to buy, like today.
So it's like the difference between window shopping and being ready to whip out your credit card.
Exactly. High-intent keywords are where it's at. But even with the perfect keywords, you still need to grab people's attention, right?
Right, because a boring ad is just going to get lost in the sea of ads.
And that's where your ad copy comes in. Inkbot really stresses how crucial it is to have ad copy that stands out. You want to highlight what makes you unique, tell people exactly what you offer, and have a super clear call to action. Tell them exactly what you want them to do next, whether it's to visit your website, download something, or get in touch with your sales team.
It's like that extra little push to get them to take action.
Exactly. But here's something else to keep in mind. Even the most amazing ad copy won't help if it leads to a landing page that's a total dud.
Oh, you're so right.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating when you click on an ad and then the landing page has nothing to do with what you clicked on.
The worst. Inkbot's big on creating landing pages that perfectly match the ad copy. It should be a seamless experience from the moment someone clicks on your ad to the moment they become a happy customer.
Okay, so let's talk about video marketing. I used to think video was just for funny cat videos and stuff.
Right. But Inkbot makes a really compelling case for why B2B companies need to be using video too.
Yeah, they said it's super important. But I feel like everyone's attention span is so short these days. Like who's actually going to watch a video about, I don't know, enterprise software?
That's a good point, and Inkbot actually addresses that. They say that keeping your videos short and sweet is key. People are busy, so get to the point quickly. They recommend keeping your B2B videos to around 2 to 3 minutes max.
Okay, that feels doable. 2 to 3 minutes, I can handle that.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of videos should B2B companies even be making?
Oh, there are so many possibilities. You could do explainer videos that break down your products or services in a way that's easy to understand. Or how about customer testimonial videos where you feature real people talking about how awesome your product is? You could even create thought leadership videos where your CEO or someone else in your company talks about industry trends. It's all about giving people valuable content in a way that's engaging and easy to digest.
And since we're talking about engagement, what about influencer marketing? I feel like that's usually associated with like beauty bloggers and stuff, not so much B2B.
It's interesting you say that because Inkbot actually has a whole section on influencer marketing for B2B, and they make a really good point.
Yeah.
It's not about partnering with someone who has millions of followers. It's about finding those people in your industry who are respected, who have a loyal audience, and who genuinely love what you do.
So it's about quality over quantity when it comes to choosing influencers.
Exactly. And don't discount those micro-influencers, the ones with smaller but highly engaged audiences. They can be absolute gold. And the way you work with influencers can vary too. You could co-create content together, like a white paper or a webinar. You could have them review your product, or they could even do a social media takeover for you.
So it's about finding those win-win partnerships that benefit everyone involved.
Yeah.
Love it. Now, I'm curious to hear what they have to say about customer experience, because it feels like everyone's talking about CX these days.
It's not just a buzzword, though. Inkbot argues that B2B companies who nail the customer experience are the ones who really come out on top. And we're not just talking about making people feel warm and fuzzy inside, although that's important too. We're talking about a real impact on your bottom line. Happy customers mean loyal customers, and loyal customers mean more revenue.
Okay, so how do you actually create an amazing customer experience in the B2B world?
Inkbot breaks it down into a few key things. First off, personalization is huge. It's all about making your customers feel like individuals, not just numbers in your system.
So it's about tailoring your interactions to each person's specific needs.
Exactly. But it's also about being consistent across every single touch point, from your website to your sales team to your customer support. No matter how a customer interacts with your brand, they should always have a positive and consistent experience.
That makes a lot of sense, because one bad experience can ruin everything.
For sure. And then another thing Inkbot stresses is being proactive. Don't wait for your customers to come to you with problems. Anticipate their needs, answer their questions before they even have to ask, and if something goes wrong, own it and make it right.
So it's about going above and beyond to really wow your customers.
Exactly. And remember, creating a great customer experience isn't a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process. You always have to look for ways to improve, gather feedback, and make things even better for your clients.
It's like that saying, the customer is always right.
Exactly. Now, last but not least, let's talk about the foundation of it all, data-driven marketing. Because in today's world, data is king.
Data can feel overwhelming, though. Like, where do you even begin?
Inkbot's advice is to focus on the metrics that truly matter to your business goals. Forget those vanity metrics like how many likes you got on social media. We're talking about things like customer acquisition cost, CAC, customer lifetime value, CLV, and of course, return on investment, ROI.
Because ultimately, you need to know how much it costs to get a new customer, how much they're worth to your business in the long run, and if your marketing efforts are actually making you money.
Precisely. And it's not just about tracking these metrics separately, it's about seeing how they all work together, and then using that data to make smarter decisions about your marketing strategy.
So you're using data to inform your decisions, not just to measure results after the fact.
Exactly. And one of the best things about digital marketing is that you can constantly experiment and test different approaches. Inkbot encourages a culture of A/B testing and data-driven decision-making. So instead of just going with your gut, let the data guide you.
I love that. So basically, we should all be data nerds now.
Data is your friend. And that about wraps up our deep dive into Inkbot Design's top 10 B2B marketing strategies. It's been quite a journey.
It really has. So much good stuff to think about. What do you think is the most important thing for our listeners to take away from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that B2B marketing doesn't have to be boring or stuffy. You can be creative, you can be bold, and you can actually have fun with it. But most importantly, you need to remember that at the end of the day, you're marketing to humans, not robots. So focus on building those genuine connections, leverage the power of data, and never be afraid to experiment.
I love that. It's all about human-to-human connection, even in the B2B world. Well said. And to our listeners, we challenge you to take one bold step today to shake things up in your marketing. Don't be afraid to try something new, to think outside the box, and to really connect with your ideal clients. Until next time, happy marketing.